Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2018, Hellfest. Without any further, let's get started. A traveling horror theme park called Hellfest has arrived in Orange Grove and hundreds of people have paid to take part in this really terrifying experience. Three friends are visiting a haunted house tonight when one of them finds a dead end and separates from the others. She starts looking for a way out, unaware that one of the figures among the decorations is actually a doll. One pursues the girl into another dead end, and when she turns to face him, he is identified as the man who has been pursuing her all night. She continues to think he is a part of the attraction, until the other person approaches and stabs her. In order to conceal his actions, he hangs the body from the ceiling so that it appears to be part of the decor. The police won't discover it until 3 days later, when it begins to smell. A few years later, Natalie pays a visit to her old friend Brooke, who she hasn't seen in a long time due to her busy academic schedule and the distance between them. Natalie is upset to learn that Brooke has moved in with Taylor, a highly attractive woman who teases her for having feelings for her buddy Gavin. Natalie is led to her room by Brooke, who assures her that they will spend the weekend without a Taylor.
Nothing, I promise. He's traveling horror night. People totally just shit in there. Your boy Gavin came here.
But tonight, Gavin bought them VIP tickets to a park called Hellfest, so she's agreed to be going with them. On Halloween night, the girls and Brooke's boyfriend Quinn visit Hellfest, who meets Asher and Gavin within the park and tells them the tale of the body discovered in Orange Grove years ago. They stroll across the area, snapping photos with the decorations, getting shocked by players in costume, and enjoying beverages as they talk about what to see next. Hellfest! In the meantime, the other person has shown up at the park dressed regularly, but as soon as he enters, he wears a mask and pulls up his hood to make himself appear to be one of the performers. After unintentionally running into a girl who reassures him that he is not terrifying, he snatches a knife from a food cart. The friends visit a place called Deform School, which is filled with performers and dolls. Following their exploration of a number of eerie halls and rooms, the girls unintentionally become separated from the boys and run into the women who just so happen to bump into each other. Although it's obvious that she's running away from something and crying, the girls just regard her as a prop, hiding behind a curtain. When the other person arrives, the girls are not impressed. He obstructs their path as they attempt to leave, but Natalie informs him that the woman he has been pursuing is behind the curtain. After Brooke and Taylor have left, the other approaches to bring her out and stabs the woman in front of Natalie, who feels that things have become a bit too intense and bolts from the building. As the girls meet up with the boys again outside, Natalie can't help but notice that one of them is observing her from a distance while he presses a finger to his mouth and warns her not to reveal what he sees. They also see him following them around the park as they enter the carnival games area. Quinn wins something for Brooke, but no matter how many games he plays, Gavin never wins anything for Natalie, so he has to buy her a pretzel instead.
I think my game of choice is the one where you're like...
When they come across a photo booth, they decide to get their photos shot, kissing each other because they couldn't agree on a position. After trailing them there, the other seizes the opportunity to take the pictures. However, Brooke spots him and pursues him. When he leaves, the place he's retreated to is empty and deserted. So when Brooke gets there, she starts having second thoughts. Quinn surprises her by showing up behind her, and the two of them return to the group where the entire incident is still written off as part of the act. While the others want to visit the Deadlands, Gavin stays behind in hopes of winning Natalie a toy. As everyone forms a line to board a ride that will lead them to the following location, where they will sign a release allowing actors to touch them. Gavin approaches one of the gaming stands to purchase a reward, but he is denied. But after spotting a man removing other rewards, he locates the room where they are kept and enters to take one. He selects a doll from a locker, shuts the door, and confronts the other, who trips him with a mallet before using it to smack his head. Upon noticing that Gavin's phone is receiving messages from Natalie, the other person unlocks it using Gavin's finger and responds under the guise of him. When it's time to board the ride, Brooke and Quinn board one vehicle, while Taylor and Asher board another. Natalie is left to ride alone while the couples make out and are jumped by different decorations. Just before the power goes out, Natalie's car breaks down. Natalie wants to run away, but the safety bar is jammed when the red light abruptly starts to flash and she notices the other is getting closer. Natalie's shouts may be heard by the couples who have finished ride and are waiting outside. When her car eventually moves out, the other is sitting on the hood. More males emerging in similar clothes and masks. The truth is exposed. This isn't the other after all, but a group of actors whose job it is to intentionally get a single person's car stranded in order to give a ride to another rider. As they move across the park, the gang stops at a body prop that Asher is brave enough to stick his hand into.
See, that's why I didn't do it. You find me yet?
One of the actors grabs Taylor out of the blue, but they find her back a few moments later, having enjoyed the surprise. After that, they seem to be brought by a bunch of eerie kids to the Deadlands by hand, down a smoke-filled hallway, and a man wearing a mask. This time, the real person is also present. Once more, they divide it into two distinct mazes. After the girls enter a scary laboratory, a psychotic surgeon starts chasing them. The boys get split up when they come across an abandoned railroad in a model house full of dead addicts, as the other makes his way inside the maze and takes off with a syringe. The girls come to a hallway they have to walk through, and people with their hands jutting out of walls are trying to touch them.
It's definitely getting. Yeah, are the hands long?
Taylor and Brooke run off and the door closes behind them, so when Natalie runs after them, she takes a different path. She walks into a room full with body parts and bone, and as she looks for a way out, one of them appears behind a phony mirror that lights up on the wall and hits the glass with his fist. Thank goodness, Natalie discovers the escape in time to depart from there and meets up with the girls again. And Quinn, who continues to believe Natalie witnessed merely an actor, will now have to wait for Asher, who hasn't made his appearance yet. While he's still inside, lost in the maze, the other seizes the opportunity to find him by himself, kill him, and put the syringe in his eye. While they wait, a monster actor approaches the group who has puked all over Natalie's clothes. So she follows Brooke to the restroom and she may wash. After discussing how much they miss one another, they decide to take a quick trip to Spain. After Brooke left, Natalie heads over to the hair dryer to take care of her hair, so she doesn't see or hear the other coming closer and almost touching her. Subsequently, she uses a restroom while messaging Gavin, and an odd thing occurs every time she texts. She hears a ping from a different stall. As she is ready to go, she notices the other person's boots beneath the door as he begins to shake it in order to enter. Natalie tries to use her signal to phone 911, but it doesn't work, so she enters another stall by sliding under the wall. She briefly believes she has made it until a hand suddenly emerges above her head and grabs her hair. She fights against it until she is set free, at which point she dashes from the restroom in search of Brooke. The girls bring a security guard to the stalls together, but he says he can't do anything if Natalie wasn't wounded and is unable to identify the man. Natalie's photo booties are discovered on the floor, and according to Brooke, one of them contains Gavin's phone. But the guard claims he can't arrest people for carrying out their duties, and that it must all be a joke. In front of a stage, the girls meet up with Quinn again. They want to go, but they don't know where Asher is, and Taylor has volunteered for the upcoming performance. A host walks onto the stage and remarks that Taylor has been a mischievous girl. When he determines she must pay with her head for her sins, an executioner straps her to a guillotine. When Natalie sees the executioner's shoes, she knows he's the other person in disguise. When she tries to interrupt the show, but security blocks her path. Taylor's head is severed by the falling guillotine blade, which the presenter retrieves and displays to the audience, but it's a fake. The reveal calms Natalie down. Oblivious to what transpires behind the curtains, rather than releasing Taylor, the other bonds her tighter, places her head beneath the blade, and then lets it fall on her neck. However, it only leaves a small cut, so before trying again, the other person double verifies the cutting edge. Taylor is able to free himself this time and flee. When the gang tries to alert a guard to the disappearance of two of their buddies, he mistakenly believes they are just getting wasted in the park. They suddenly see Taylor running by and asking for help, so they follow her and find her being stabbed by the other. While attempting to stop him, Quinn also gets stabbed. When people realize that this is real, they begin to run away in terror, including Brooke and Natalie, who are now being pursued by the other while the guards apprehend the wrong man. In an effort to hide from the other, the girls enter a second maze, this one constructed to resemble hell. The other follows them inside and retrieves an axe from one of the prop bodies. Then he closes the door to the entrance and breaks off the handle. Meanwhile, the attraction traps continually leap on Natalie and Brooke, making it harder for them to flee, until Natalie discovers that they are activated by sensors on the floor. They know exactly where to go so they don't draw attention to themselves. They slip into another room and hide in a closet, trying to use their phones to call for assistance, but finding no reception.
Is that working?
The girl sees his feet through the door as the other passes by. Yeah, but he's unaware of their presence. After they wait a short while to make sure he has left, the girls flee out of the closet and return to the entryway, only to discover that the door is stuck. There is only one option remaining, and that is to get through the entire maze. As they keep avoiding the floor sensors, they come across a room full with fake weapons. They take 2 unlit torches to protect themselves before returning the way they came, only to discover the closet they had left open had been closed. They proceed cautiously in front of it, believing the other will emerge from it, but they pass through it without any issues. They pass through a number of other eerie rooms until coming onto one that is stocked with dolls of different shapes and sizes, one of which is hidden. He charges at them with the axe as soon as the girls turn around, just managing to inflict a leg wound on Brooke before Natalie notices him and strikes him with the torch. She grabs Brooke and assists her in leaving the room. They flee through a hallway and come to what they think is a dead end. They decide to hide inside by posing as parts of the masked props. The other person shows up as well, and unlike the girls, he finds the way out, setting off a recording that congratulates the players on their successful escape. Since this is the first time he's heard of it, it implies that his victims are still in this room and haven't left. After examining each mask, the other makes a poor decision and attacks the doll, getting his axe trapped in it. The girl sees the chance to act. Natalie strikes the other with a torch, but he overcomes her by striking her with his axe and kicking her, sending Brooke fleeing. When she sees a sign asking her to pick between 2 options, she goes left and enters a hallway where there are hands trying to grab hold of her. Natalie tries to follow her, but she goes in the correct direction, and the other uses his axe to burst through the fabric wall to get to Brooke. Due to the damage on her leg, Brooke activates every trap because she can't jump over her sensors, preventing her from leaving right away and allowing the other to catch up to her. As he approaches to attack her, he hits one of the sensors with his foot, causing a wall to open and revealing Natalie. She then leaps on the other man and stabs him with a knife, leaving him bleeding on the ground. As she and Brooke eventually make their way out of the maze. When they get to the door, they see the police, who had taken the girls outside before finally starting to look into the matter. The only negative information they have is that they were unable to locate their attacker.
No, he was.
Shortly after the media reports on the tragedy, the other drives back home with his mask and Natalie's photos in a cabinet in the garage, where he also stores other masks and moments from his past killings. Entering his living room, he is greeted by his daughter, who gives him a hug and inquires if he has brought her anything. She receives one of the park dolls from the other. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.